1,000 suns. As with all the Space Marine legions, the first 1,000 suns were created using gene seeds sampled from their Primarch. This was to prove both a blessing and a curse. The gene sire of the 1,000 suns was Magnus the Red, who was the most psychically gifted of all the Primarchs, a trait he passed on to his sons. Yet along with their father, Eldritch, might the 1,000 Suns also inherited the latent threat of warp-touched mutation that lurked within his flesh. The path of damnation for the 1,000 Suns Legion was longer than most. Even before the Horus Heresy, Magnus led his sons in the study of arcane lore and the practice of sorcery, eras in which they excelled. Always the subject of great controversy, these investigations became the anathema after the fateful Council of Nicaea. Magnus continued his studies with reckless arrogance, believing himself and his sons to be engaged in the work so vital that it eclipsed the mundane rule of law. When Horus gathered his forces against the Imperium, the 1,000 Suns first tried to use their occult powers to warn the Emperor. In his efforts to do so, Magnus had instead been seduced by the Dark Gods into unmaking the Emperor's greatest labors and causing irreparable damage. Wrathful, the Emperor dispatched Lemon Russ and the Space Wolves to the 1,000 Suns' home of Prospero to apprehend the errant mystics. Seeing his chance, the War Master, still loyal by the wider Imperium, appended the Space Wolves' orders, commanding them not to capture the 1,000 Suns for judgment, but to fall upon them as executioners. The sack of Prospero was horrific. Russ's warriors built pyres from Magnus's libraries of books, parchments, and ancient texts, destroying artifacts unique in all the galaxy with a stroke of a chainsword. Magnus himself met Lemon Russ in hand-to-hand combat. Primarch against Primarch, Berserker against Giant in the ruined heart of the city of Tisca. Outmatched, Magnus was forced to appeal to the Dark Gods for aid. In stentorian tones, the Primarch of the 1,000 Suns boomed out a mighty incantation that snatched up the surviving 1,000 Suns and transported them far across the galaxy to a planet of refuge. Yet the price of salvation was terrible. Magnus's soul was torn asunder by the bargain he had struck with the mighty Tzeentch. Just as Magnus's sorcerous powers were magnified by the boon of chaos, so too were those of his sons. But the cost was insupportable, and more of them fell to rampant mutations. Eventually, one of Magnus's greatest protégés could no longer stand by and watch his legion degenerate. Gathering a coven of like-minded sorcerers, Azek Araman worked his infamous rubric. A spell of incalculable power. The rubric was meant to stabilize the mutating flesh of the 1,000 Suns and save them from uncontrollable change. It went far farther, reducing the surviving legionaries to living dust within their armor, little more than mindless automata, trapped forever in servitude of their sorcerous brethren.